I've done the hook for the last, 20 episodes.
Yeah, roughly.
Jackson, is this an egalitarian relationship?
Yes.
Oh, it's egalitarian?
I don't know what that means, but yes.
Oh, okay, so Jackson doesn't know what egalitarian means. Rachel Spencer only watched this bit of the podcast. All I have to say is I can't be in this household anymore. You're not the man I married, Jackson. I swear to God, your idea of jingling the keys for a hook is not a good hook.
Are you okay? Nice. Finish it.
Oh, I know it's a good hook. I got some car keys. Oh.
You're laughing.
I am.
So clearly it worked.
Okay, so hello, my name is Duncan Walla. I'm gonna have to change my name after this divorce. My opinions don't matter. With me, as always, today is Jackson Smaction.
Yep. I'm still here.
Hey, I'm
Duncan's
still
yet
here.
to shoot me.
Yep, well, the gun is cocked and loaded. And third chair, also with a cocked and loaded gun, but for several other reasons, is Gerald Cortez. Jerry, how are you going? You didn't even respond to the fact I said, how are you going?
Don't eat the... No. I spent money on that. Get that out of your mouth.
Jerry's like a dog.
Yes.
It's like, spit it out.
He's chewed up at least one shoe.
Spit it out. Jerry with a shoe in his Magikarp head. Spit it out. All right. So, speaking of dogs, Jackson, how's your week been?
It's been a week. I have done school, and that is about it.
Dude, aren't we such interesting individuals?
Such interesting individuals.
Aren't we so cool? We should start a podcast with
Yeah.
how interesting we are.
I'm so interesting. I do so much. The closest thing that has happened to me is I really felt the urge to kill someone at work.
Oh?
And other than that, nothing. It's just
Like customer, coworker?
Coworker. I would never kill
okay.
a Culver's guest. Well,
A Culver's guest.
If they happen to die when a rocket launcher hits their car, then they would. But
it would be after serving them just such quality food.
no, it would be after warning them to get out of their vehicle and remove it from the drive-thru. It was a coworker.
Okay.
And they were just not doing their job, which made me have to do their job and my job. And
get paid the same.
Yes, and they would in fact... Actually, no, I do get paid more than them. But, they...
That 25 cents an hour really adds up.
No, but they, at first I thought it was just kind of like they just happen to not be around. They're just kind of, absent-minded. They're talking to people. They're not really paying attention. But no, at one point, their job was to, make the funny shakes. And someone ordered a shake, and they looked me dead in the eyes, nodded, and then left. They just walked to another room.
Oh, that's good.
And I had never felt such rage in my soul.
Oh, man, that's good. So how did you respond to that? Did you make a shake?
I did. Because I'm not going to let the other people in drive-thru who need that to give that shake to someone down. So I'm going to do...
Oh,
if part of my job description for this job I was doing is not, when the person who has to make shakes can't do it, you have to do it. If that wasn't part of my job description, I would not have done it.
Like you're pulling out like a three ring binder with like 400 pages in it. Immediately flips to the direct page in your job description that says
that
this.
I have to do this. It's luckily
sweat dripping from your brow as you dash over to the custard making machine.
One of my
your Culver's hat falling onto the ground as you catch it right before it hits it.
I would. Luckily,
you spin your cap back, say like gotta catch them all, and make a shake.
Yeah.
Spit in one shake, gives it to the person. Spit in another, drinks it yourself, makes a third shake, gives it to the customer.
Exactly. And
all in the blink of an eye.
It was instantaneous. Luckily, I did have a friend there from school who works there, and she was kind enough to basically do their job. They had actually asked the person who was supposed to be making shakes, they're like, hey, do you want to switch? Because I like doing that job. And they said no. So then, of course, they did that job because the person who was supposed to wasn't doing it.
So you just got like a little diddler, as I call them.
Oh, when I turn 18, please just make me a manager so that I actually feel like...
So you can fire this
No,
person?
not so I can fire them, but like I technically have the authority to say, please do your job. But because I'm not a manager, I don't feel like I do. I feel like they wouldn't respect me enough.
Yeah.
So if you make me manager, then I would feel like I have the thing to say, hey, please do your gosh dang job.
Yeah. I most of my job is working with diddlers. People just diddle.
I didn't have to, and then all the people my age left, and we got our new wave of 14 and 15-year-old dumb homeschool children.
Oh, man.
So I just want to boot into the sun.
Way to dunk on the homeschoolers.
The thing is, they
Do you
wouldn't...
ever just walk up to a homeschooler and cough on them because they're not vaccinated?
The thing is, it wouldn't be so annoying, but because they're all part of the same dumb homeschool groups, they all know each other.
Oh,
So they're
yeah.
all talking during work about
Yeah.
their homeschooling.
Yeah, they're all bred together. You breed homeschoolers together. And eventually, after 2 to 3 generations, you get to put it... Why did you sneeze midway through my story? How dare you? I was
Oh no,
talking
you
about
were interrupted
homeschoolers.
halfway through something.
For those of you out there who don't listen to the Perfectly Average Guys podcast that often, that joke is because I'm known for interrupting Jackson, to put it lightly. Anyway,
Back to your Castlevania plan about putting homeschoolers in pens.
no, it's not as funny now that I've been thinking about it. It's kind of mean. Now that I'm not in the heat of the moment, I'm like, dang, I'm a homeschooler, aren't I? I actually was. I was homeschooled until high school.
I was homeschooled
Which explains a lot.
Yeah, I was homeschooled until 7th grade.
Oh, man, I'm sorry.
And then I was self-schooled because... No, I'm kidding. I was not self-schooled at Christ Prep. There were at least 75% of the teachers were effective.
Well, according to your Christ Preparatory Academy tier list, most of them are good.
Yes, most of them are good. I had a very good school experience.
That is a glowing review.
Yeah, there were very few that were infuriating. And even then, some students didn't find them infuriating. And some students found all the teachers infuriating. And those students were the ones who didn't like school.
Period.
So-
Yeah. You're just gonna run into that problem. I like pretty much all of my teachers.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Some of them are my friends to this day.
Yeah.
And that's not changing. That being said, I would dunk on so many teachers from the Daniel Academy. I would just take the basketball, run up, miss the basket because I don't know how to play the game, but then I'd say something moderately funny on Twitter, and that's all I would have to do on them.
Good job.
Yep.
You would...
You've been infected with the giggles today, Jackson.
I was watching The Phantom Menace, so I'm just in a laughing mood.
Oh man, you've been watching The Phantom Menace?
I was like, you know what? I haven't seen... The last time I saw a Star Wars movie was when I saw Rise of Skywalker in theaters.
Yeah,
so
I'm sorry.
I haven't seen any Star Wars movies in a while. So I was like,
everyone, a moment of silence for Jackson's loss. That was a good moment.
so I was like, I might as well. I'm just gonna watch through all of them, and we'll just see how because I've said opinions on Star Wars, but because I haven't seen them in so long, I really wanted to know if on this watch through, how many will change? What will my experience be this time? And so far, it's been great because Phantom Menace is one of the funniest bad movies I've ever seen.
No, so have you ever heard of the Instagram account Prequel Memes?
I have not. I've seen many prequel memes.
It's easily, well, first of all, visible confusion.
Yeah.
Second of all, I just can't fathom how you have not seen it, because it's one of the best follows on Instagram, because Instagram, terrible platform. I think all of us can agree.
Yeah.
Terrible platform. But what it makes up for in its terrible, and being a terrible platform, what it lacks, my sentences are not connecting
Good.
as they should. There's like Legos but my little brother
Your
chewed off.
synapses are like Legos.
Yeah, my synapses are like Legos, but my little brother chewed off all the studs on the top of the bricks, so they're just sliding around. And to compound that factor, his little slimy gums made it to where they're just like well
You
lubricated,
could have used
bad
like
Legos.
an animal for this analogy, and you used a little brother, which you do not have.
I don't have a little brother, but it makes perfect sense. Like
Logan.
who out there doesn't have a little brother that doesn't exist? All right.
Me.
Shout out to Joe for the podcast. Anyway,
exist,
he
unfortunately.
he's made some good music. Like you said, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Darn, coming at him harsh. What are you gonna do next? Miss the basket?
Yes.
That was good. That was called a callback joke.
It's a call.
Yeah, we call back to earlier in the
No,
podcast.
don't even.
Don't explain it.
No.
But explaining the joke makes it funnier.
Okay. So I've seen many prequel memes, but most of the prequel memes I've seen are Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith.
I mean, yeah, fair.
So I was
Except for This Is Pod Racing, which is like
that
one of
is
the best
true.
ones.
There's that one, but other than that, I don't see a lot from the Phantom Menace. So I was like, there's not going to be that. And the thing is, there aren't that the lines themselves are not necessarily what's funny. It's the delivery of those lines.
Yeah.
And the lack thereof. There is no delivery.
It's like what we're saying isn't necessarily not funny. It's just our delivery is bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it's
What you lack in good and like what you lack in quality, you can make up for in good delivery.
In quantity.
Much like Domino's.
yeah, what?
Domino's, bad quality, great delivery. This analogy is perfect. Continue.
My brain went to like the rectangular things that you knock over.
Yeah, what you lack in quality, make up for in good delivery as I like throw it across the room at my aforementioned unexisting brother. There's a reason why a little Gerald, I said Gerald because it was the first name in my head, why little Joffrey Walla has the little dents in his skull.
Joffrey Wall.
Yeah, you know, Joffrey. They named the Game of Thrones character after him.
Okay,
Yeah.
that makes sense. Oh,
I'm on a different one right now. I'm on a
Yeah.
different wavelength than I'm usually on.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
Speaking of Game of Thrones characters, the Honest trailers released their Iron Fist Honest trailer,
Oh yeah.
which is probably the best Honest trailer of all of them.
The Lord of the Rings one is still funny because
That is
after
true.
like 10 years. That's something that I will hold to.
No, it is definitely quite comedic, but this trailer, they're so like they do kind of their jokey plot synopsis of season 1. They go,
Okay.
and then in season 2, none of you watch season 2, which is true. I don't know anyone who watched the second season
I didn't.
because everyone watched the first season.
Yeah, it was.
And it was so bad that they didn't watch the second one.
Yep.
But because everyone watched the first season, they made a second one.
like I don't know anyone who watched Jessica Jones season 2, Luke Cage season 2.
That's fair.
I just don't think that those. I don't know anyone who watched Jessica Jones besides myself and my father. That is a TV show that exists and is on Netflix and you could go watch, but nobody's done it.
I mean, I'm not too surprised.
Like it is because first of all, as someone who watched that entire comic book television show, there's no comic book in it. It's just a bad teen drama. That's all it is.
But the thing is, it may be bad, but David Tennant,
No, he's great.
Yeah.
David Tennant is great in everything he's in.
which makes me want to watch it, but it's gonna be bad.
Yeah, I mean it's just not. It's just there's no superhero in that drama.
Dang it, Riverdale.
Yeah. David Tennant's not in Riverdale.
He's not, no. But
I would believe it.
yeah, just one episode, he's just there for some reason.
He wouldn't soil himself with Riverdale.
That is actually I think that might take the longest video essay I've watched as of right now, and it's definitely not the longest out there, but I watched a 2-hour and 20-minute video about how bad Riverdale is that goes through every season and every main character.
Oh man. Alona and I yesterday had a grand time watching. His name is Madvocate. Mm-hmm. He did a season by season analysis of The Flash.
Oh my gosh.
It's really Jerry, mark it down. It's really fucking funny. Oh my god,
Yeah,
is it so good? Because here's the thing. I talked about this in our Arrow review, as like Arrow was great. I was the perfect audience for Arrow.
Yeah.
I was the perfect audience for all of the CW shows.
Yeah.
Period. That being said, I'm thinking of Flash from, 14-year-old perspective, Duncan. It's like, yeah, the Flash was pretty good.
Yeah.
And then watching this guy go through it, I was like, dang, what a poorly written show.
Yeah,
I just didn't realize it.
There's a reason that I kind of like, as someone who, when I was watching through them, liked Flash more than Arrow, I really don't remember anything
Anything from it. It's just
anything but season 1.
It's just a red blur.
Pretty much. Like, I can generally tell you stuff that happens in seasons 1 to 5 of Arrow. I can tell you what happens in season 1 of Flash, and a little bit of season 2, and then season 3 was the guy with the Power Rangers Ninja Turtle villain looking dude.
Yeah.
And then the one after that had the brain guy.
Yeah.
And I can tell you the first episode of season 5 because it was actually kind of, it had like one good joke that I will forever remember.
Oh?
Because Flash is running into he's running, you know how in the first episode of the series he does the reverse running trick to the tornado?
Yeah.
He's
Instead of, running through the tornado and killing the guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He does the reverse, the spin polarity whatever thing on a black hole.
Yeah.
And he's doing that, and they play the Flash song, and Iris just looks and goes, I feel like we should have gotten to this song by now. And Cisco just goes, he's running into a black hole. This is the perfect time to play it.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed that.
That's a good
and
reference.
that's all I remember.
Yeah, I mean, reference humor, like, the show's...
That's Cisco's entire character.
Yeah.
And that's why he's liked.
Mind you, we love Psych, so reference humor is totally fine.
No, reference humor is great.
The only real critique I make of Flash is that it was obviously made by people who loved the content,
Yeah.
who loved the material that they were basing the TV show off of, but they just sucked at making TV shows.
Yeah, which is unfortunate.
I mean, I might have the same opinion about a lot of things, but like when you take a diff, so like you have a character, right?
Yeah.
And this character is functionally unbeatable.
Yeah.
Super speed is so unbelievably overpowered.
Yeah.
It is broken. If you can move faster than somebody can react, you will always win. There is no way that you can write a scenario where they're not going to win against 95% of antagonists.
Yeah.
For instance, if you can catch a bullet, why would Captain Cold ever be a villain? Why would he be a reoccurring villain? Right? And like this is something that the Madvocate video was super funny about. It's like he is a normal guy with a gun. And somehow he has beat you like 3
he's
times.
also, like the best character in that show.
Because I don't know the name of the actor, but he does a really good job in several bad TV shows.
Oh yeah. He's just really good.
Like he belongs exactly where he is, which is in bad TV shows.
Yeah.
But he's just like, dang, maybe the show is good. He leads you on. He deceives you.
He's like the only reason that season 1 of Legends of Tomorrow is good.
It's not good.
Well, no, he's the only good part about it. Is
There
what
we
I meant
are.
to say. He's the only good part about the first season.
I mean, he's the best part about Prison Break.
Yeah.
Have you watched Prison
I
Break?
have not, but I saw something and I saw that it was him and Rory, and I was like, wait,
Yep.
hold it up.
Yep, it's because those actors are friends in real life.
Yeah.
But the first 2 seasons of Prison Break are genuinely worth watching.
Yeah.
Again, I think that the
I
show
don't
is
know
bad
how-
if you have to chop off 2 seasons.
Important
Prison Break
question
is
is how there's more than one season of a show called Prison Break,
Precisely.
which
No,
is
no, no.
my exact same critique of Promised Neverland, where how is there more than one season when the goal is to leave, and then they do.
I mean,
Oh no, you're so spoiled that the anime people won in the anime show. How?
the anime people have never lost. Speaking of broken characters.
Oh no, Goku did the Uwu blast and now he won.
Again? Frickin' again? I thought he was gonna do the Ultra Instinct, the Uwu Instinct. Imagine you're there watching Dragon Ball Super.
Shang-Chi is the best Dragon Ball movie.
It is? Oh man, that's really racist.
No, if you
Shang-Chi
saw,
is Chinese, right?
if you saw some of they Kamehameha blast each other.
Okay.
So that was the joke.
Yeah.
I knew that they were.
So I have a question. Is Shang-Chi and the Seven Rings based in around Chinese characters?
It actually is.
Yeah,
which
yeah,
is
yeah.
nice. And actually, when there's they have a character who is ethnically Chinese, grew up in America, does not speak Chinese.
Yeah.
But a bunch of the characters do. And a lot of times when it's just those characters, they speak to each other in Chinese, and Marvel just gives us subtitles.
Good job.
Which is it makes sense.
Yep, that's
When you have characters that are switching between languages, you can't just do they're speaking in Chinese the whole time, but we're just going to play it for you in English. It's like, no, they're just... And that's something I actually really appreciated about that movie.
Yeah, okay.
And there's some things about it, like, the character that doesn't speak Chinese, they'll just, they'll be talking to each other about something that, she's not going to understand it, or this is, something that's just between us, and then they'll just switch to Chinese.
Yeah, but then Chuck Norris suddenly knows the language.
Which is like the D&D move.
Yeah. Can we talk about one of my favorite tropes that there's some tropes that you only have one or two examples of.
Yeah.
But they're tropes because everybody knows them.
Yeah.
Which is the two people are speaking in a language, and then badass protagonist walks up and says two words in that language just to prove just how badass he is. And then he walks away. Right? Han Solo does it. And so does what's-his-face. And so does Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
Right? So
Which is...
Harrison Ford, already everyone's like, yeah, that's a trope. And then you walk into there's so many other ones.
I don't know.
Captain America does it a couple of times.
He just says stuff, yeah.
He just says stuff in different languages, even though he doesn't know American culture.
Yeah.
Just thinks that he was like, oh, what's the Beatles? But is fluent in 20 languages.
The only of those characters that I can actually see being fluent in another language is Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
And other than that, I don't feel like they should know that many languages.
But the other thing is, knowing more than one language it's pretty difficult. Right?
Oh, yeah.
By being bilingual, it requires a lot of mental, acuity.
And to hold on to it.
Yeah, and then to know, 3 language, you are a genius if you know
Yeah.
3 languages. Because there's a lot of acumen mental acumen that goes into being fluent in 3 languages. Now, if you're just somehow out here and you are Tony Stark, the smartest character in this universe, and you know only English, and then you're out here being, I don't know, literally anyone else in that story, it's like, how the hell do you know more languages? Natasha Romanoff. This is basically in spy movies that happens a lot.
They just know a bunch of languages.
Oh yes, the badass protagonist knows 5 languages.
The thing is, yes, thank you, C-3PO, 6 million forms of communication. But,
he's a computer, it makes more sense.
Yes.
He's just Google Translate.
when you have, because the thing is, you want to give your spy characters, cool things that make them seem smart or a thing, but they also have to have a techie sidekick, and they can't be super smart or else they're a nerd.
Yeah.
So if you just have it where they just kind of speak, and they also have to speak whatever the language is, because the main bad guy obviously speaks Russian or German,
Yeah.
and then he will say something to them in that language, and they will respond in Russian or German, and then he'll be like, oh, cool, you speak my language in English.
Yeah.
So then the rest of the scene can carry on in English.
Yeah. I mean,
So-
unless it's Metal Gear Solid, in which case all of the villains are American.
Yeah.
Which, kind of funny.
Yeah. But, especially with Marvel characters, it feels like Black Widow should know Russian,
Yeah, sure.
and Bucky should probably know German.
Yeah, sure, maybe.
Maybe. And that's about...
Any other time when those characters speak another language, it's just I don't know about that one, Chief. But speaking of which, so in Shang-Chi, you have all of the Chinese characters will speak Chinese. Why didn't they do that in Black Widow? The Russian character speaking Russian?
I think they did it. Did they do it for the open, or did they not?
I don't remember.
I think they speak in some Russian, but just not most of the time they don't. But the thing is, because all those characters speak Russian.
Yeah, literally all of the
them
characters in the
speak Russian.
entire movie.
Speak Russian. And with that, what I appreciate about Shang-Chi is they have a character who is, or it's Shang-Chi is how they pronounce it throughout the entire movie.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
And so, but
now I feel bad for mispronouncing it, but I'm also just dang.
it's not gonna. I don't think I can change it at this point.
I can't change it.
Yes. But they have.
I'm not Shang-Chi. I'm Shang-Chi.
But they don't do the thing is, this movie, it doesn't do the Black Panther thing where they have, get it? It's the funny white guy who doesn't understand the culture, who says the funny jokes.
That is pretty funny though.
That-
Black Panther.
Yeah, like that's a good thing, but they actually,
Like if I can do anything, it's laugh at white people.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm really
But
good at it.
They do that without just, because I know there's so many people that complain. It's like, oh, you're gonna have a movie that's all this one race, but then you throw a white person in there because you think that I can't relate. And I never agree with that.
Yeah,
I'm like, that's
no.
not generally how that works.
Well, it's because I can relate with human beings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like,
And
this
human
is,
beings don't need to look like me for me to relate to them.
Well-
I can literally relate to Bugs Bunny.
Yeah. but
It's
But
true. I relate to Bugs Bunny
for
a lot.
For a movie that takes place in basically Asia and like different parts of China, and I don't know where
You're gonna mess something
I
up
know
here.
that, I don't know what country Macau is in, or if Macau is a country.
Yeah, it's totally a country, but it's okay.
It's like they go to Macau. They go to places like that. Fuck you. Yeah, I don't know. The thing is, I have no clue. But they go to all these places, and it's not like there's just a bunch of white people everywhere in Asia.
Yeah, I mean, so you know the Prince of Persia movie?
I do not.
Yeah.
I've heard of it, but I have not
So
seen
there's
it.
there was a Prince of Persia movie coming out. It's basically what you're describing happened here. But in the Prince of Persia movie, you know how Egypt is in Africa?
Yeah.
Everyone in the Prince of Persia movie was white.
Yeah.
And people had some issues with this because, you know,
It's Egypt.
it's in Egypt. But then my real issue with it was why wasn't it in Persia?
No, you make a good point.
Right? He's the Prince of Persia, and it's like all Egyptian gods. It made no sense to me.
It's like if they made a God of War movie and just went straight to the fourth one.
It's like it's literally in the name, right? Like people are like, "Oh my God, Oscar is so white," and then it's like, dude, if you really want to be offended at something, don't be offended at the casting director. Be offended at literally everyone, right? Like,
There's yeah.
because like, what's the casting director's job? To cast the guy who they think is best for the
role.
For the role, right? That's their entire job. And if they cast all white people, they probably didn't get good directions from the director about it, right? The director
Like, where's
saying,
this movie taking place again? Egypt. So is it bad that I hired a bunch of white people? Yes.
No,
Well, sucks for you.
apparently the director was like, no. It's like, oh yes, I want more white people. If Oscars isn't 95% white, it's terrible. That's what this director was thinking.
All I can think of is that this movie took place in Egypt. They probably did not film it in Egypt, and they just grabbed extras from wherever they were.
Yeah.
Which
In Atlanta, Georgia.
just like, yes, you.
And yeah, just like a comically maniacal Hollywood
Actually-
person walking out on the street like, yes, you're white. We can put you in this movie.
I feel like there's got to be one movie
They have
out
like, they
there.
have like a Home Depot's like paint
This
scale.
is
and they just walk
gonna
up
be
to
like
people.
this is gonna be a real border on offensive here. But I feel like there's got to be some movie out here that's got to have like wrong casting. Like it takes place in like Asia, but some Hollywood guy just was super dumb and like the entire movie's like Hispanic people or something like that. Like it's casted wrong, but it's not like just a bunch of white people. It's just they got
It's just like a bunch of generically ethnic people.
people.
Oh, but well, hey, then finally my wife would be represented. Yeah, no, but no, it's I think that would be hilarious.
Yeah.
Not because it's like, oh yes, I love offending you and your culture. It's more that it's like, oh yes,
He does, but that's beside the point.
I love people being stupid. It gives me
Yeah.
such energy. Yeah, that's besides the point.
Right, yeah, that's not important right now. And
Your offense in the tragedy of your
Yeah.
culture being destroyed from its bastardization of our colonial Hollywood, that alone is just gravy. All right, that is
That's
the
the
icing
cherry on
the-
top.
That is the cherry on top. But what I really prefer is watching people just be stupid.
and then the other,
I used words there, man.
you used the English language. Good
Dude,
job.
I was busting out the Merriam-Webster on your ass.
hot? Question mark.
I'm
not sure.
Man, wouldn't that would be such a strange fetish.
Someone reading the dictionary to you.
Yeah.
Just during sex.
You sit down and it's like, oh yeah, baby, bring out that D. And they bring out the Merriam-Webster dictionary. It's like, sorry, ladies, I read the dictionary during sex.
I'll read all the words that begin with D.
Diaphragm.
The only two. I also, another thing that I just kind of want to give credit to for one specific person in the Shang-Chi movie, and it might just be, it's probably a directorial thing, but his best friend is played by the lady who voiced the Last Dragon in Raya and the Last Dragon, and she's actually mildly funny in this movie instead of just being annoying. So as soon as I heard that that's what it was, I was so concerned because I knew she was going to be the comedic character. But she wasn't a bad comedic character. So
Let's go.
Improvement.
Shout out to this actor.
I'm not gonna attempt to say her name because I will butcher it.
Hey, that's more
I've
more respectful than butchering it.
I've heard someone say it, and I do not remember it well enough.
Yep.
Jerry, if you could go ahead and look up the cast for Shang-Chi so that Duncan can see how this person's name
It's
is.
Shang-Chi, you racist.
Chi Shang.
Oh yes, that's good.
It's the
As-
one that's just one word.
That would be probably difficult. Here,
Yeah, Jerry.
allow me to look at it.
It's right there. It's the second one.
Yeah, I'm not gonna try. Nope.
You should all look it up.
I'm usually
send
pretty
us
good.
your phonetic responses.
Because like I'm usually pretty good at trying to pronounce things in a particular dialect.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna try live on air.
No, we can cut it. Just do like 100 takes.
I don't believe you. I don't trust you or Jerry for that.
Oh gosh. Yeah. Anyway, I do actually have an interesting topic that I want to get your opinion on.
Okay.
It was a video essay.
Is it more dumb Hollywood stuff?
Yes, it will lead to dumb Hollywood stuff.
Let's
We'll
go!
We'll talk as how dumb people are in Hollywood. And so it was a video essay about something on the Suicide Squad, and it was talking about James Gunn's directorial talent and how he was taught and like why this movie versus they were comparing it to Wonder Woman 1984 because apparently nobody likes that movie
Except for us.
I was like, eh. But he was talking about the difference in the directors and their viewpoint because James Gunn had an entire interview where he talks about two of his writers that he always writes and works with and how he's like, they're always there to be like, is this being explained well enough? Is this too far? And he's like, and I don't always take their suggestions.
They're his
but-
actually writers.
Yeah. He's like, but they're there to tell me if like, oh, this might be a little stupid if we don't clarify some things. And he's like, and I love them for that. So you get that kind of good input.
Yeah, those are more editors, right?
Yeah, kind of like that. Whereas I don't know if it was a tweet or an interview statement from the director of Wonder Woman 1984 that was really long, but summed up just says, if people on my team didn't understand the movie, I knew it was just because they weren't smart enough to get my vision.
Oh, that's good.
And she believes the same thing about the audience and has like her vision is the ultimate thing. And basically on set, she wasn't listening / didn't have anyone telling her that stuff was a bad idea. Which probably led to a lot of the writing issues that people have with that movie or like some logical inconsistencies in it. Which he then brings this around to another person who had what he defined as yes men on them. And that was George Lucas with the prequels. Where there's an amazing behind the scenes clip that I've never seen before that is George Lucas's reaction to the first like finished product of The Phantom Menace. And his response is, "This makes no sense. What the heck is this?"
George Lucas?
Yes, that was his response. And his three writers around him all basically said, no, it does make sense. This is a good movie. And he was like, he's like, this is going to be so confusing. And they're like, no, don't worry about it. It's fine. And then they would like just say word babble that made no sense.
Technobabble, if you will.
Yeah. But he basically he didn't have anyone telling him that stuff was a bad idea, because he was like, oh, all these people see him as like the great George Lucas. Like, no, your writing is great. Just keep going with it. And even when George Lucas himself was like, wait a second, this might be confusing for people, and they were like, no, don't worry, it'll be fine.
Yeah, see, in response to that, whenever a director or just any sort of creator says, well, actually, you're just too stupid to understand it, I don't know if they're right or not. No, I legitimately don't know, because that creator, if they're saying like, oh yeah, you're just too stupid to understand, maybe you are too stupid to understand because you like it. But also, maybe you are just too stupid because you spent money on it. Maybe you are just way too stupid because you even bought frickin' merchandise on it. Yeah. You were wearing a T-shirt, sitting down with a cup that has Ray on it, eating popcorn from a popcorn jug that has Ray on it, looking at Ray on the big screen. You spent $40 down it, and then you're like, "Oh, how dare this director say I'm stupid?"
I mean, that's fair. But like, I can like, even calling the audience dumb, that's fair. A lot of the movie-going audience is not that intelligent.
Just people aren't intelligent.
Yeah.
And
but when you have people on like your writing team that are like, hey, this is kind of confusing here.
Yeah,
like you don't get my vision for this story.
Just doing the pointer finger touch, like
Yeah.
director.
Miss Director,
Director, why do we need MacGuffin?
And then they're just like, you don't understand, as they're like shaking in their seat. Like, you don't know the nights that I've had
They immediately
dreaming of this vision.
They reach over to their desk, pull out an orange bottle, just shoving all the pills in their mouth. It's like, I'm trying
I
to
took
think
so
of
many pills to see this vision.
What's a good movie that we want to make fun of for this bit? Like there's plenty of movies. Oh yeah, what's the name? J.J. Abrams? No, what's the name of episode 8? What's that guy's name?
Rick Astley. No,
There it is, Rick Astley, as he's just reaching over, pulling out the pills, shoving them down. He's like, well, you wouldn't understand, actually, Luke has to die at the end, because he sends a force image at it, and then he dusts it off, and actual dust comes out of the forced vision, but that's really just to lead you on to believe that he's real. And then when he dies, and he walks out, then the sense of betrayal you feel at the writing, that was intentional.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Then when Luke
Ryan
throws...
Johnson, that's who it is.
Rian Johnson, let's go.
I could not think of him, so I just thought of... I was like, wait a second, he directed Knives Out, because I was like, I know people involved with that movie because I like that movie. That's his name.
It's like when Luke throws the lightsaber, the expectation subversion. That's what you go to it for.
When it comes to movies, I am most excited to see in my Star Wars rewatch. It's those new ones.
The sequels?
It's the sequels, because the original ones I know are good, and the prequels I know are gonna be funny and not that good. So it's those ones that I'm excited to see, just because I'm really bad at remembering things unless I really, really like them. So these sequels, I don't remember a whole lot. And the only one that I actually remember liking was episode 7. And then I'm like, is that even gonna be good?
It's not good.
I
have... So even if it's something that I watched 10 years ago, I likely have a very strong opinion about it. All right? Because I have strong opinions about everything that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Right? And some strong opinions about things that do. But mostly things that don't matter, right? Or is what I have strong opinions about. And one of them is Star Wars.
Yeah.
All right? I've said this before and I'll say it again. The people who hate Star Wars the most are Star Wars fans.
Yeah.
The people who love Star Wars the most are Star Wars fans.
Yeah.
It makes no sense.
It doesn't make any sense.
Right? Because you talk to a Star Wars fan, and you know they're a Star Wars fan because they hate it.
Yeah.
Right? And because if they were wearing a Star Wars t-shirt with the aforementioned Rey body pillow in them, next to them in the theaters, right? If they're that sort of Star Wars fan who have the Funko Pops, right?
Yeah.
That's how you know they're a Star Wars fan. They hate the prequels. And they hate the sequels.
Yeah.
Except for maybe one of them, right? Because everybody who watched the sequels is like, episode 7 is good, or if you're in the case of my former brother-in-law, episode 8 is really good. Right? They have these bad opinions. Not so good ones.
I mean, I think that it's super interesting because you have people who have the full Kylo Ren helmet behind them, like in their room that costs like $400. And like, yeah, all the sequels are like the worst movies ever made.
And
Like, then why do you own Kylo Ren's lightsaber?
Why did you give
give Disney your money?
Yeah.
I think the only I know, like, as of now, the only of the sequels / Star Wars stories that I actually enjoy is Solo. That's the only one that I like in thinking back.
Hard disagree. What about Rogue One?
Okay, that is fine. Like, I enjoyed that. That one is good. But I just forget it
But
exists.
also hard disagree on Solo being good.
I think that Solo is, of every Star Wars movie besides the originals, captures the original feeling the most. And that is a fun space adventure that there is gunslingers and there is charisma, which is sorely lacking in a lot of other movies.
In the main character of Solo.
No, you're wrong. He's
Okay.
That actor does well.
Okay.
I enjoy.
This is opinion time.
This is opinion time. He does not just try and do an exact Harrison Ford impression, which was a good choice because you can't do an exact Harrison Ford impression.
Yep, no, he can't anymore. Nah, I mean, you've seen the newest Blade Runner, right?
I have not,
Anyway, continue.
but I think that he does fairly well. Woody Harrelson does amazing because he's Woody Harrelson.
I had a hunch that was the real reason you liked the movie.
Which is true. Yeah, that's the main reason. I don't like the stupid droid.
Why not? The social justice droid is hilarious.
Okay, it's funny. It's
Because, like, imagine you're there in a Hollywood boardroom, and they're like, yeah, being woke is super popular right now. We need to have more wokeness in our Star Wars movie. So then they sit down and it's like, where can we put this character in? A literal robot who does whatever she's programmed to say.
really that it is pretty funny, but I think that it definitely has issues. But besides the originals, I probably like it the most.
Oh, can we talk about how the trope of, like, the robots deserve rights is, and, like, how that's every single time is brought up, especially in Detroit Become Human, is brought up as it's like an analogy for how minorities need rights and how minorities are treated poorly, right? But then it's like, you're comparing minorities to robots.
I don't.
Or like we did, like an alien comes in, or it's like Bright. If you ever watched that, whenever
I've not, but
yeah.
I've heard it's beautiful.
It's pretty
Exactly.
garbage. But like you take literally any sort of fantastical analogy for racism or for slavery. The moment that you make the slavery be from, I don't know, aliens, like we're treating aliens poorly, it's like, darn, I didn't know that we were treating, that you thought black people were bug people. It's like, I didn't know that. Same thing like Return to the Planet of the Apes. That's another one.
Okay.
It's like, literally every single time, it's like, darn, you're really stupid.
I don't know the exact wording for this, but it was in part of my Masterpieces of Film class, there was there's an interview with the director, and he's a 50s noir film director. He has his 50 points for making his 10 points for writing a good story, making a good movie.
Okay.
And one of them was, and this is especially for just specifically noir films of that time, but it was, if you keep your story points subtle, they'll be better. Like, if you keep your message more subtle and more nuanced, it will be better.
Yeah, you know
And
what?
people just
That's
need to
correct.
learn that. And his other one, right after that, if you let your audience put 2 and 2 together instead of you doing it for them, they'll love you forever. And I feel like a lot of writers really just need to pay attention.
Well, yeah, because, like, we want a movie with a message, right? That's what a lot
Yeah.
of people say. It's like, I want a movie that's saying something. But the next step is I want a movie that's saying something well. Right? That's really difficult,
Like,
mind
it
you.
is really difficult. And I'm not someone who generally goes out looking for movies with deep messages. I'm more of a brain numb, this fun type.
But, like, you take something like that for a more modern example, like Captain Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Talk about a really good message, right?
Yeah.
Like, they took a message that was topical and sensitive and did it well. Now, it's not like that's what Disney took as a woke thing and talked about it well, and talked about how it's bad to treat people who don't look like you poorly. It's like,
Whoa.
darn. But it feels like literally everywhere else that we try to get a message like that, it's like a Disney Channel original movie telling us
It's like
it.
the new Cinderella movie that I've heard so much wonderful things about.
Oh, man. It's like, darn. Because it's not like we have a problem with any particular, like, it's not really wokeness. It's like with any particular heavy-handed message.
Yeah.
Like, if the message is, man, you should really treat your neighbor like yourself, bro. Jesus was just such a homie sort of message. I didn't mean to come for your youth pastor like that. I'm sorry.
I don't think of the 3 youth pastors I don't think any of them have ever used the word homie. And I'm so glad.
But Jesus was just, like, so real, bro. He got down with him, and then he said, you never had a youth pastor do that?
No, I have not.
Oh, man.
Because my youth pastor, especially the youth pastor I had for the 2 years leading up to me graduating, he just full on acknowledged that he was not
Capable.
He was not capable of relating to us and the youth. He was like, we had the 20-year-old interns making up like the games, and it was like guest songs. What do these emojis mean? And he's like, do people use emojis? What is that song? I have no clue what it is. What is it about? Like, he would just be so confused, and he would just fully admit that he had no clue what was going on.
I was like, oh, yes, you say, like, the clock? It goes tick-tock? It does? What time is it again?
And the party don't stop.
And the party don't... tick-tock and the party don't stop.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
Oh, that reminds me. As he pulls out as he pulls out his skinny jeans and
You're
leans
sitting
down.
Wednesday night, your youth pastor in skinny jeans steps up to the mic and begins singing Kesha songs.
For like an hour. He doesn't
It's
stop.
on a concert.
Like it's slowly fading in the background. There's just a giant poster of Kesha. He points to the left and there's an empty mic and then a hologram of Kesha begins to sing.
Descends.
Oh no.
Oh, beautiful. Guys, we fixed all the problems with the church.
We have fixed youth messaging. Oh man,
You're welcome.
I finally know how to
be a youth pastor. We
how to
would
get
be
to
the
the-
best youth pastors.
Yes, we would. I agree.
Some church hire us.
It doesn't work. We're too young. They'd be like,
Dang
"Oh, you could intern with us, and we could use you as slave labor." I made the joke, but it's an accurate one. Or we could go and spend maybe like $2 to $10,000 at YWAM, where we work.
What's YWAM again?
Youth with a Mission. It's an international.
YWAM sounds like something that would show up when 60s Batman punched somebody.
I wish. Oh no. That's good. It's like the thing with internships nowadays is that if you're doing an internship with literally any company, it's a paid internship.
Yeah.
It's a job, is what it is.
Yeah.
It is a job that you got, but it's a preliminary job so you can get experience.
Yeah.
And then after a couple of years, you then go and the job that says, oh, you need 2 to 5 years experience, you get that from an internship, right?
Yeah.
That's how the system is, quote unquote, supposed to work. Now, you take something like youth theater or Christian youth theater,
Oh, yes.
to be more specific, or just Christendom
Youth.
in general, where you are
You take
a
youth.
right? And then that internship turns into you losing money and gaining no experience. And it's just truly miraculous.
Now-
It's like, ooh, you're sitting there and your boss is like, we want to see a trick? I'm going to make this pencil and your bank account disappear. And you're just shoving your own head into the
Someone
pencil.
who has had a lot of experience and heard a lot about many, many different churches behind the scenes. The issue is with if they would ever try and do a paid internship or something like that,
They don't have the money.
they don't, because they don't really have any. They have like at most one person who is really respected. That is the money guy, and other than that, it's just kind
You're
of
talking about in like the tithes and offerings sort of.
yeah, pretty much. They
Yeah.
don't have any. They generally don't have a person that is like an actual financial manager that would be
Oh,
like,
no, that's true.
here
Yeah.
is like it's like even like, obviously there a lot of churches give to mission stuff, give this, like they'll
Supposedly.
but they never have someone who is like, all right, so you want to give this, and you want to do this, and you want to expand your building here, and you want to use this much on local outreach.
Yeah, they don't have an accountant.
How it's like you're gonna you have this money, divvy it up.
Yeah, they don't have a... For how much they talk about Dave Ramsey, they don't have a Dave Ramsey.
They don't.
Yeah, no, that's decently accurate.
Yeah.
I know that, again, my father has been a worship pastor for the last 20 years, and he's given me some insight, and I've sat... As I've gotten older, I've sat in like elder meetings and heard what they're talking about, and it makes a decent amount of sense, right?
Yeah.
That being said, my main problem is not that they don't have someone to spend the money.
Yeah.
It's that if you're gonna have an internship program,
Yeah.
where, okay, so let's say that you're taking a gap year before you go off to college because you want to be successful, right?
Yeah.
You have any sort of prosperity gospel elements in your church where it's like, hey, the Lord, the way that he really shows his favor is by giving you material things. I don't believe in that personally, but a lot of churches, including ones that Jackson and I have been to, certainly say that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they do. And if that's true, there's no intellectual consistency in there.
Nah.
Because, first of all, churches don't make money.
No.
They lose money. That's all that they do.
Jerry has been hovering like over the stop recording button for a very long time.
Yeah, it's like, the thing that finally makes him shut off the podcast is if we say something offensive about Christians, not all the other offensive things we've said.
No.
Like, it's like, come on, Christians are the low-hanging fruit of comedy.
That's fair.
Yeah, then as you make a joke about a Christian with a low-hanging fruit, then they give it to their wife or their husband, and then they eat it, and then they're kicked out of the Garden of Eden.
Oh gosh,
that was a really ham-fisted one.
Yeah, I mean, as I've been to a lot of churches, I've seen one internship that actually led to the dude getting a job, and he actually was.
Did he get a job at the church?
Yes, he got a job at our church.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
That's a really difficult way to be like, I was really successful. I got a $20,000 a year salary.
Yeah, it didn't. Our youth thing was it was super weird, and we had like the guy who was technically the youth pastor, but then we had a different guy that did all like the youth teaching.
Yeah.
It was weird. But the guy who did all the teaching basically went to school to be a youth pastor and then came back and did an internship and then did this.
Okay.
And it's like, so he ended up doing what he wanted to do.
Yeah.
So I'm like, and I didn't necessarily agree with everything he said, but as a person who had just come out of like a theological school, I don't know which one, he had a lot of kind of spirit and passion. He actually
he had some honest things to say.
He had honesty, and he had like the energy for it. Like he wasn't like some like old guy that's been preaching for like 86 years. That's like,
but you don't need to go to an internship for that.
You don't,
right? We've belated the point long enough. I think that church internships are stupid. But it's like I'm the main thing I was talking about was YWAM stuff.
Yeah.
Because YWAM, you go and pay YWAM to become a missionary.
Hang on.
No. I say it like that, and I went to YWAM.
Yeah,
I've done youth things with YWAM I did it for 4 years.
Is that where you went to Hawaii?
I went to Hawaii, and that's very impactful on my life, sure. But darn, it just doesn't seem like a productive system. Because from what I was looking at, the little teen infusion things where they get over 2,000 people to come for each summer, that's a really productive summer camp, right? If you have a summer camp where you have 2,000 people spending $200 to show up to that summer camp, that is a very, very productive summer camp, especially if you already have a campus set up like YWAM Hawaii has, where it's like, dude, we don't have anybody on this campus. We already have people making food. We already have everything set up. Just throw them in there, and we'll talk about Jesus for this summer camp. Already totally fine idea. I'm fine with it like that. The main point where I was like, darn, this seems like not how it should be done, is that there were people who either lived there full time, or usually live there full time, who don't make a living there, who have to pay to be there. Now, usually this is called like the missionary life, where you have to like rely on churches elsewhere to pay for you to live there. But darn, I'm sitting there like, where's the missions work?
Yeah, like I've had a lot of interaction with a mission. Is that?
It's
Oh,
going.
there we go.
Yep.
I've had a lot of interaction with a missionary because my old church, we had a one in Panama, and I went down there twice, and I talked to him. I think I've talked about it on the podcast before. His name is Vince.
Yeah.
Like, big,
Yeah,
super nice dude. And him being someone who, he used to live in California, and then he moved to Panama. So he lives there. He's a citizen of Panama, and a lot of, when I had conversations with him,
What do you call him, like? What do you call someone who's like? Do you call him a Panaman?
I
Panama.
think it's Panamanian
Panamanian. Okay.
is the correct
I said like
terminology.
Panaman, Panawoman.
But he very much, like, I think he has, besides being a missionary, he has some other job, because, like, they don't live badly. They do not rely on, they rely on money given to them to continue doing missionary stuff and, like, to do more missionary stuff.
Yeah.
And they rely on, like, they like us sending people down there. But they, from my knowledge, did not rely on financial support to, like, keep their house or buy food or anything like. They were making a living plus the doing of the missionary stuff.
Like, also, I feel like that would lead into a more productive, like, not to get like theological on you, but my main problem with most like missions work is that they go there, convert a bunch of people, and leave.
Yeah, and
That's not necessarily. I don't know. It's where a lot of the problem, like social problems from Christian missionary, comes, is because it's like, that's why a lot of Christian missionary work is called very disingenuously called colonial.
Yeah.
Right? Because you're just going there, converting people, and leaving. Whereas, if you believe what a lot of the hipsters of the Bible believe, which is that you should go there and live with them, and you don't just convert them, but they become part of your family, and you disciple them, right?
And that is, from what this guy tries to do, is he goes to, like, the same towns all of the time.
Because, like, do you want to know missions work that I think that, like, I would totally support with my money? Cleaning the ocean.
Yeah.
Or, I don't know, providing water for Africa. Right? These are two things that would be incredible humanitarian acts that the church has the money to waste on.
Yeah.
Right?
I think that a lot of...
If we have enough money to... If every church has enough money just to send them to places, to have people internship there, just, $20 grand a year that you're dumping on this internship, if you have enough money for that, you have enough money to actually do helpful things.
Yeah.
Like,
I think that...
maybe
I do think that...
Pay them to go clean the ocean.
Yeah, I do think that a lot of mission work being narrowed down to just converting people is just a really narrow scope of a lot of the things.
Yeah.
It's like, you're supposed to do that,
Especially when
and
Christ
take
says,
care of them.
let the, what is it, like not the love in your heart, that's a little bit too mainstream, but like, let your, I forget the wording on it now, I usually have the Christ quotes on lock, but it is how you love them, right?
Yeah.
They will know you by your love. There it is. Especially when when he's saying stuff like that, it's like, oh yes, my love is praying for them and leaving.
Yeah. Like, it's like, I don't necessarily have anything against, going and converting people, but there's other stuff you need to do with it. You can't just peace out.
Basically, TLDR, actually not TLDR. A point to make is that Christians in America are the highest denomination, or the highest percentile for charitable giving.
Yeah.
Right. Period. We bar none. Right. Religious people give more money to charity than any other people. Period. The problem with that is not that their heart's in the wrong place; it's that their money is. And if you started giving your money to things that were actually make a difference, such as cleaning litter in cities, right? That makes an actual difference in the long term.
Yeah.
Cities that don't have trash in them have less crime in them. right? You can look at that across at least America, but across the world. If you have litter on the streets, you're more likely to have a much higher murder rate. It's because when a city is full of trash, people don't care about everyone else. And that's just something that's like, you could make a legitimate difference with all of your money if it was actually put in the right place, but it seems like it's being thrown into the ocean to become more litter.
Yeah, I think that there's definitely...
Speaking of an opinion that I have that I'm actually passionate about,
I think that if either of
matters.
us ever make money, that is something we should do.
Oh yeah, that's the real reason you should like, comment, and subscribe to us.